In April 2025, Denmark's Defence Ministry announced that it would be creating a new infantry battalion to ensure a quote-unquote continuous military presence on the strategic island of Bornholm in the Baltic Sea. The new unit, going by the name Bornholm Regiment, was officially established on June 12, 2025. So let's take a look at what one of Denmark's youngest military units is all about. Rewinding to that April 2025 announcement, Danish Defence Minister Troels Lund Poulsen had this to say about the decision to establish a new unit. We live in uncertain times where it is important to be able to defend Denmark in a situation where security is deteriorating, and here we have given special consideration to Bornholm. In case you have no idea where the island of Bornholm is, well, it's here, on the western side of the Baltic Sea, with Sweden to the north and Poland to the south. Given the island's location, its strategic importance needs little explanation. And so, just a few months after that April 2025 announcement, the Bornholm Regiment was established on June 12, 2025, as a way to, quote, increase the land military combat power for the defense of Bornholm. Interestingly, it's explained that the Bornholm Regiment operates as a standalone territorial unit directly under the Army Command. As such, it is not permanently assigned to either of the two primary maneuver brigades in the Royal Danish Army, even if it will train alongside these larger formations. The website Tølne.dk says that the new regiment was to replace the approximately 300 soldiers on Bornholm, who formed a reconnaissance battalion under the regiment in Slagelse. This unit lived and trained on Bornholm, but had on several occasions been deployed far away from the island. But Danish Defence explains that the regiment's infantry battalion consists of a staff/headquarters company and 3 mechanized infantry companies based on the Army's new Patria armoured personnel carriers. It's added that one of the battalion's companies is formed with conscript soldiers. Danish Defence goes on to explain that the mechanized infantry battalion can have one high readiness company, in other words, one company continuously on high alert, with the ability to deploy 3 consecutive companies in an international operation for periods of up to 6 months. It's added that 2 companies' worth of conscripts for national deployment will be deployed to the regiment. Now, all of this information is what we found on the Danish Defence website. As you'll learn later on in this video, a lot of what has been stated might be more about future plans than the real-world current state of the unit. A recent social media post promoting the Danish Armed Forces presence at an event by the name of Folkemøde on Bornholm notes that the Ministry of Defence's Material and Procurement Agency, or FMI, has delivered a great deal of equipment to the regimental staff and the mechanized infantry battalion since the unit was officially established in 2025. It's said that at the beginning of 2026, the new Patria armoured personnel carriers were presented on Bornholm, and so the regiment now has both the new Patria vehicles and the older Piranha 3s. An article by the Nordic Reporter says that the battalion's combat force will include 15 of the Patria 6x6 armoured vehicles, which sounds embarrassingly small. However, if this is indeed being supplemented by Piranha 3s, then it makes a little more sense. The unit has also received some of the new Scania trucks, for which FMI signed a new framework agreement earlier in 2026. Finally, for vehicles, the delivery of new Mercedes-Benz G-Class off-road vehicles to this unit is planned for later this year. On the weapons side, all Bornholm soldiers have been issued with the new M25 rifles from Colt Canada, with no additional weapons information provided. Being what looks like a light infantry unit, we presume that light general purpose and heavy machine guns might also be part of this unit's armament. Finally, when it comes to the Bornholm Regiment's home, this is said to be Elmegårds barracks, located on the outskirts of Rønne on Bornholm. Units from the Guard Hussar Regiment are also garrisoned at Elmegårds barracks, where the Bornholm Home Guard also has its address. The barracks themselves were established immediately after World War II and were home to the Bornholm Guard until the Guard's disbandment in 2000. An article by Bornholm's Tølne titled "The Bornholm Regiment is the Emperor's New Clothes" is, as you can expect, quite critical of the Danish government's decision and subsequent execution to establish this new unit on the island. The October 2025 article translated from Danish says, "Behind the ceremony and the big words about a strengthened military presence, there are fewer soldiers on the island today than before the establishment of the regiment, which is not expected to be ready until sometime after 2030. This is what several sources with connections to the barracks tell Tølner." It goes on to say that the Bornholm Regiment has been criticised as being merely symbolic politics, with retired officers shaking their heads at what is happening. Sources speaking to Tølner for its October 2025 article described the situation as follows. The Bornholm Regiment currently only consists of Colonel Lars Nygaard, 2 officers, and a couple of secretaries. Statements that there are about 500 people attached to the barracks is said to be somewhat misleading, as this figure includes many civilians such as cooks, janitors, and others who are not soldiers. There are currently just over 100 conscripts, and fewer are expected in the future. The article then says, if a war broke out tomorrow, the barracks could gather around 200 men to defend Bornholm. That includes the young conscripts, many of whom travel home to Copenhagen or Jutland for the weekend. And so, if the reports are correct, then it's clear that what has been marketed isn't quite matching reality. The media outlet points to one likely point of confusion, calling the new unit a regiment, since regiment has certain expectations of size, around 500 to 1,000 soldiers. But as many in the military may already know, especially those serving in reserve units, the name doesn't always match real-world staffing levels. Indeed, for militaries all over the world, the structure and subunits can all be laid out neatly on paper, while troops and equipment may actually be lacking. And so it's explained that an actual regiment is not expected to be ready until sometime after 2030. It is only at that point that the unit is expected to have 2 standing companies, a staff company, and between 2 and 3 conscript companies. In a written response to Tølner's investigation, the Minister of Defence acknowledges that the results of the Danish Armed Forces' new plan to ensure a better military presence throughout the country is not yet in place, and that the building of a new unit will take some time. The Minister then says, but the ultimate goal remains that the defence of Bornholm will be strengthened overall, with more soldiers also coming. Finally, it is important not to focus only on the numerical presence, as a number of decided reinforcements of many other capabilities of the armed forces that are not based on Bornholm will also be able to contribute to the defence of the island. So there you go, a little bit about the current and envisioned state of Denmark's Bornholm Regiment. After finding that Tølner piece later on in our research, things made a lot more sense to us. Indeed, to announce plans for the regiment in April and have it officially established in June is extremely fast. Making it clearer that full operational capability won't be achieved until 2030 would have been helpful, although we also understand why the government would choose to say this part a little more quietly, or perhaps just not say it at all. But what do you think of Denmark establishing a regiment on this relatively small island in the Baltic Sea? Let us know by leaving a comment.